State. Last year, this team came to Florida and won a bowl game and finished 8-4. Tonight, they want to do that again. NC State's season was on the rocks at 3-3, but their standout backfield turned it around and capped the run with a signature moment, the first ACC team to win at Florida State. Pittsburgh's passing game was slow to get going. A 1-5 start turned around for Antonio Bryant and company. 5 straight included a win over Virginia Tech, and 2 of the hottest teams in the nation meet in Orlando tonight. The Wolfpack of North Carolina State. Sometimes they can be among the best in the country. Sometimes they don't bring the best effort. They look ready tonight. Walt Harris has brought the Pittsburgh Panthers from Western Pennsylvania to another bowl game. That's 2 years and 3 in the last 5. Pittsburgh now has to win a postseason game. That's their goal as we welcome you to beautiful downtown Orlando for the 2001 Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. It's the first matchup of the Big Six conferences. As out of the ACC, it's NC State. Out of the Big East, it's Pittsburgh. Welcome you inside the Florida Citrus Bowl. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Jerry Punch joins us in a second. Very hot teams. Combined, they've won 9 of their last 10. You have to look at all the bowls, and only the Sugar Bowl has a better matchup of hot teams. Now, Antonio Bryant, key question, as we've told you throughout SportsCenter and College Game Day, he will play on that bum ankle. I watched him warm up. He looked pretty good. He means a lot to this team, Herbie.
Well, him coming back and being able to be healthy and play for 4 quarters is huge, not only for the team, but also for the quarterback, David Priestley. It's been a tale of 2 seasons for Pittsburgh, also a tale of 2 seasons for the quarterback, David Priestley. The first 6 games, trying to get used to a no-huddle offense, and he never quite adjusted to it. Walt Harris scrapped it, went back to the more conventional attack that Walt has coached everywhere he's been, and you can see the quarterback has bounced back, 13 touchdowns and only 1 interception. David Priestley's kind of had a roller coaster ride of a career at Pittsburgh. Tonight's his final game in this uniform. He wants to go out a winner.
I know he will too, and he's a good football player. There's a guy on the other side named Phillip Rivers. Now, he's all he done is come out of high school and started 23 straight games. He's tough, he's versatile. Phillip Rivers has done some things at North Carolina State that no one has done already in the history of college football. He's a sensational leader and a great football player. But I would be remiss in not mentioning number 5, Ray Robinson, my favorite. I think he's the best all-around back in the nation for everything he does that no one's ever heard of.
Yep, team's leading receiver. He's a senior as well. The seniors play with desire. The freshmen want to make that impression, and both teams want to end the season with a win. Season didn't start out well. Somebody's will end in grand fashion at the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl from Orlando. Successful, looking for a second 8-4 season in a row. He's age 55, and so is Walt Harris. On the other side, he's brought the Panthers to 3 bowl games in the last 5 years since he's been the coach in Western PA. Beautiful downtown Orlando is advertised. Weather perfect. It's been nice and comfortable in the 70s by day and the 50s by night, and clear the forecast for the season. Pittsburgh won the toss, deferred the option to the second half, so North Carolina State will get the ball first. Nick Lotz will kick it for the Panthers. Pittsburgh in blue, NC State in white, and we're underway in Orlando. Trouble with the handle, but Lamont Reed takes it to the 27-yard line. So here comes Phillip Rivers. Lee talked about him before. Impressive numbers. Second year he started every game. Missed most of the last game for NC State with a toe injury. They say it's okay. He looked fine in warm-ups. Here are the starting lineups with him. Ray Robinson, 4 years, solid all around. Coach Ray Jackson, dependable. Brian Peterson early was the go-to guy, but Jericho Cotchery has become that man in the offense. Willie Wright, the tight end, a big catch man this year with 40. He's a senior. They come out and split 4 wide. Team that throws it better than they run it. And the first toss is to Robinson. Beautiful hit by Torrey Cox, who's all kinds of fired up. He's from Miami, so anytime he sets ground in the Sunshine State, look out for him. Let's show you this NC State offensive line. A couple of seniors playing their final game. Brown, the left guard. Keegan Weir, the right guard. Chris Colmer, the most consistent of the offensive linemen.
And on the defensive side of the ball, Brian Knight, 6'2", 240, a senior. He's the leader up front. Watch him come hard off the outside edge, trying to get to Rivers.
8.5 sacks for the senior from Buffalo. Scholar athlete on this Pitt team. Rivers able to elude one rushing man and throwing downfield for Peterson. Incomplete. Torrey Cox, second good defensive play of the night.
It's a good job by the quarterback, Philip Rivers, of staying with the receiver, and Peterson stays with the route because he knows that his quarterback has the arm strength. This is a long throw to make on the run for Philip Rivers. You can see Peterson, he's not letting up, but you got to give Torrey Cox a lot of credit. He also continued to give great effort and got just enough in the way of the receiver to bat it down.
Torrey Cox, first play, bang, on a running play, boom, on a long pass. Nice looking defensive back starting the ball game. Number 5, Torrey Cox.
Needing to get to the 36 for a first down. 3 in the pattern, and the throw for Sterling Hicks is incomplete. Never had a chance. Torrey Cox defending on all 3 plays on that series.
The good news for Torrey Cox is he's done a wonderful job. The bad news, they must have thought he was the weakest link on a football team, because a team doesn't come out and attack you like that unless they do, right, Kirk?
I don't know if I agree with that. Torrey Cox has been getting it done all year for Pittsburgh, and that's kind of like an outfielder getting 3 putouts in the outfield.
Yeah.
The punt by Austin Herbert to Yogi Roth, former walk-on receiver, says, get out of the way. And good field position for the Panthers. They'll take over at their own 40. 32-yard kick brings David Priestley on the field in good field position. 5th-year senior quarterback, kind of followed Walt Harris, Ohio State, to Pittsburgh, and is ending his career here tonight. What's happened in the backfield? 3 freshman running backs. Marcus Furman will get the start tonight because he started the last game. Lusaka Polite's the fullback. Antonio Bryant goes on the ankle injury. Best receiver in the country last year. Not so this year. R.J. English led the conference in yards per catch. He is just as dangerous as Bryant in this offense right now. Furman gains just a yard. Good pursuit by that NC State defensive front. The offensive line for the Panthers. No seniors here. Rob Petiti, the freshman, has been very consistent throughout 2001. And Lee, let's check out the NC State defensive front 4.
Number 48, Corey Smith, has caused 6 fumbles this year. That means he comes hard from the outside and tries to make a good play.
Anderson, 6 sacks on the other end, so 48 and 34. Also have good backups. They're solid on the ends in Raleigh. 2nd and 9. Priestley to Bryant. First touch, lost the ball. It's ruled a fumble and out of bounds. So that's a reception and a fumble not recovered by Pittsburgh. 3rd and 10 coming up. It was forced by J.J. Washington. We'll check him after we look at the backers.
Linebackers for NC State led by LeVar Fisher, number 44. And with the head coach Chuck Amato, who spent years at Florida State, says LeVar Fisher reminds him of not only a Florida State linebacker, but a Derek Brooks type. I think you know what he means. Washington
starts because Marcus Hudson's out with a neck injury. Terrence Holt is Torrey's brother. Brian Williams, the senior, broke up 9 passes this year. 3rd and 10. Priestley takes off and has the first down and more. Into Wolfpack territory at the 44. A pickup of 16.
Kirk, you and Mike, one thing about why do you think this quarterback's so wide open? I'll tell you why he is. When the quarterback drops back to pass, North Carolina State goes to man-for-man coverage all over the field. But they do not have anybody in the middle to spy David Priestley. If you notice everybody, Kirk, man-for-man, but no spy, Priestley makes a nice play.
It's one of the things that David Priestley, very good feel in the pocket, saw the man coverage, everybody covered, nobody left, and he picked up enough yards for a first down.
They bring Furman, the tailback, out as the receiver on the near side. So it's a 3-receiver set as the throw to Bryant is a first down. Antonio stays on his feet and brought down at the 27 by Terrence Holt. Antonio Bryant's ankle injury has been a concern. Hurt in the last game, played a little bit, then out. Nobody knew if he was going to play in the bowl game. Looks fine so far.
Well, physically, he's one of the more gifted wide receivers in the country. Last year, he won the Biletnikoff. He's had some injuries to fight through this year. You can see how dangerous he is. He's a ranging receiver, 6'2", about 185, 190 pounds. And you can see the respect that North Carolina State has by running off the ball there.
A run for the freshman, Marcus Furman. Terrence Holt, the safety, coming down and run support, joins Antonio Burnett on the tackle. I want you to remember number 9 when we get in a kicking situation. He's one of the best kick blockers you'll ever see, college or pro. His brother's a superstar in the NFL, Torrey, wide receiver with the St. Louis Rams. Terrence walked on at NC State and has impacted special teams more than most players do in their career.
Starting to make a name for himself here.
Certainly is.
State.
This is 2nd and 10. 4 in the pattern. Incomplete for R.J. English. In man coverage with Brian Williams on that side, and that's where Pittsburgh's been looking tonight.
It's interesting. We had one of Pittsburgh's games early in the year, and we saw him play Miami on a Thursday night. And this is when they were running the no-huddle offense. David Priestley never quite bought in and never really felt comfortable with the no-huddle offense. Middle of the year, they decided to go back to Walt Harris's offense that he's been running for years. More balance. You rely more on the running game, and David Priestley's numbers have gone up because he's more natural in this kind of offense.
They converted 3rd and 10 with a Priestley scramble earlier in this drive. Beat the clock. 4 in the pattern with time. Caught by English, first down. To the 9, 1st and goal, Panthers. 18 yards, and the pass yards are coming in big chunks in this first drive.
This is very good pass protection. Watching Pitt will set back, give Priestley plenty of time. But the reason why this play is successful, number 35, George Anderson, was trying to cover up with old English, your man. They couldn't cover him. They had a linebacker on an outside line, wide receiver, and boy, that was a great read by Priestley. That's why they played that play worked. Missed management.
1st and goal, ball touching the 10. It's 1st and goal. Bryant and English to this side, and incomplete as there was confusion on the combination route and pressure on the quarterback, Priestley. Kirk, you mentioned it. Let's go back to set the Pittsburgh offensive story. At 1 and 5, the offensive switch from the no huddle to a more conventional offense. Really, the offense Walt has run most of his career.
And it's the thing. It's the reason David Priestley followed Walt Harris from Ohio State to Pittsburgh. And he's David Priestley is very honest with you. He'll be the first one to tell you that he just really couldn't get comfortable with the no-huddle offense. And now you can see him. He looks at ease, and he's more suited to this style of offense.
4 receivers, pressure from State, and incomplete for Bryant. You know, one of the problems with Antonio Bryant missing so much practice time, the small stuff, the adjustments, and the timing. Last time Pittsburgh played a game was a month ago, November 24th.
But Antonio Bryant's such a natural athlete. He can get into the flow of the ball game. But you made a great point about that. It's not Antonio Bryant you're worried about. It's the quarterback Priestley and his timing together.
In fact, David Priestley yesterday mentioned us that he said that, you know, Bryant's an exceptional player. He'll make adjustments. But for me, the timing of not having him run reps in practice, that's the thing that they hurt and miss.
Play 10 of the drive is 3rd and goal. The blitz up the middle. Priestley saw it but couldn't complete the pass. And a field goal opportunity coming for the Panthers. We reminded you about Terrence Holt. The most impressive stat to me, the opponents against NC State this year, you see all the blocks. They've had 5 blocked. Opponents are 6 of 17 kicking field goals. So if he doesn't get it, he changes the game a little bit.
Yep. Look how excited he gets, too. You see him? I mean, this is big right here. He knows he's got a shot.
Nick Lotz, 11 of 17, had 2 blocked this year.
Watch the push right in here.
Holt is number 9. He got up there, didn't get a piece, and Lotz connects. 27-yard field goal from the senior from Findlay, Ohio. 10-play drive gives the Panthers 3 and the lead at the 2001 Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. 3-0 after an 11-play 50-yard drive that was capped off by the Lotz field goal. Priestley, in addition to the 33 yards passing, had a nice scramble of 16 yards to keep the drive alive. Two freshmen, Lamont Reed and Greg Golden, back to receive. Here comes Golden. Seeking, finding open space. Lowered his shoulder to bang the kicker and take it down to the 40. Greg is happy with his performance. Punt return for a touchdown. Let's check the back seven for Pittsburgh. Anchored by Gerald Hayes. 51 is a first-team All-Big East performer out of Paterson, New Jersey. He's a junior. Williams a senior. Here's their secondary.
We've already seen what Torrey Cox can do. One of the best corners in the Big East, and he'll be tested all night. Ramon Walker is really the leader. He's the quarterback back there in charge of coming up and run support. And also keep an eye on 14, Mark Ponko. Outstanding with his intelligence.
To Jericho Cotchery, who got hit by Ponko. Did a great job of holding on, but lost the yard.
That was a nice cue.
Thank you very much. He's
nice
dialed in.
setup.
Thank him for getting that.
He's dialed in down there. Guys, we got to say one thing about North Carolina State. First 4 plays, they've come out, they've decided to try to throw the football against Pittsburgh. One of the things that North Carolina State has done when they've been able to win football games is they've been able to run the ball. 7 wins that they've had, they've averaged 154 yards rushing, and their 4 losses, 38 yards rushing. So they've got to be able to run with Ray Robinson tonight.
Here is Robinson. He's stopped by Lewis Moore.
No, you're killing him with the cute coup. You really put the old smudge on Robinson. The poor kid didn't have a chance.
What do you got for third down?
I told you that Ray Robinson was one of the best looking football players if you ever, nobody knew it.
Yep.
Now this is why. If here's a situation, nobody touched him. The right side of the offensive line, Keenan Weir, the right tackle, stepped to the outside and left a hole in there, and boom, there's a linebacker blitz. Now, anybody want to name a person who's going to look terrible or good right now?
Here's a guy that's going to get the ball down here at the bottom.
Okay.
Look for Cotchery on 3rd and long.
I think Rivers is going to throw the ball at the top of the screen.
3rd and 15. Little dump to Robinson. Snuffed out by Lewis Moore. So Torrey Cox made 3 defensive plays. Mark Ponko 1, Lewis Moore 2, and those 6 plays have meant nothing for the NC State offense.
Pittsburgh defense right now playing at a great level of emotion. And that's something that Paul Rhodes, their defensive coordinator, has to see. They typically will play with great effort, and they started off very good tonight.
Yogi Roth will let this one go. It bounced forward for the punter Austin Herbert. And a long field for Pittsburgh. They'll start from the NC State 18. We have a timeout with 8:25 to go. And Antonio Bryant, a junior who might be playing his final game in collegiate football. He has the ability to go to the NFL. The question is everything else around Antonio Bryant. Spectacular 2000, as we said. Bolitnikoff Award winner. But injured his ankle very early in this season. And at the back end, injured the other ankle. And just hasn't had it together except for the key stretch when Pittsburgh turned the season around. That running play is stopped by Brian Jameson, the strong side linebacker. Pickup of a couple, and here's Jerry Punch.
Michael, you mentioned Bryant's injury. It's the 3rd play of the season then, returning a punt against East Tennessee State. He inverted his left ankle. He missed the rest of that football game, South Florida, and came back and played against Miami. Through 2 games before the end of the year, he got kicked in the heel on the right side, and then against UAB in the finale early in the game, he inverted his right ankle. So left ankle early, right ankle late, but he's on the field tonight.
Invert that.
After a pickup of 2, it's 2nd and 8. Another run for the true freshman, Marcus Furman. Lost his footing, 3rd and 10 coming up.
The thing about Antonio Bryant, it's been an ongoing battle as far as he and Walt Harris and trying to stay positive. This is a year where their whole team was tested. The character of this football team was tested. When you talk to Walt Harris, he will tell you in the last 5 games that Antonio Bryant has been sensational from an attitude standpoint. But the thing about Bryant is he means well. He has good intentions, good character, but in the middle of a hostile situation, his temperament becomes very volatile. And sometimes he lets his emotions get the best of him.
3rd and 10. 3 receivers as Priestley throws to English. Fourth down, kick it away.
Well, watch English come out of the backfield, number 84 right there. What they do, and the reason they do this, they try to pick off. You notice right there, they picked off the defensive back, Victor Stevens. That's called a rub-off. but an illegal play, which it was, is called a pickoff. But the guy English dropped the football. Should have had that. It was right in his hand.
Wide open, good call to get a matchup with the receiver on a safety. You gotta convert that.
Sophomore punter Andy Lee. Good rush by State. Lee able to get it away. 37-yard kick is almost fumbled by Cotchery. Kept it alive and got it to the 49-yard line. Jericho Cotchery playing hot potato with the pigskin. Well, ACC fans, we have college hoop for you tomorrow night on ESPN. Number 2 Maryland saw them at Cole against Illinois, and they were great. They have to go down to Norman to take on Oklahoma. Hollis Price. Number 2 takes on number 21. Both teams are 8-1. We've got it for you tomorrow on ESPN. What a game that Duke-Kentucky game
was. That great or what?
Wow, was that terrific?
That's the best basketball game I've seen regular season in 8 to 10
unreal.
years.
I think Dickie V would agree, boy. He was in March form, cranked up, excited, getting after it, December style.
1st and 10 for NC State from the 48. Rivers' pass is complete to the tight end, Willie Wright. Took it across midfield, down at the 48-yard line. Tackled by Ramon Walker, the free safety from Akron.
I'm not saying they can't win by just throwing, but they've had 7 plays. They've thrown the ball 6 times. Mentioned this earlier. There's 7 wins. They've been able to run the football a number of times. 36 times, 153 yards. Compared to the 4 losses, only 25 rushes. And you can see the rushing yards are down at 38 yards a game.
Ray Robinson twirling through the middle of the defensive front for Pittsburgh. 1.5 yards shy of the first down.
I like what Chuck Amato has done right here, though, Kirk and Mike. What he's done is you use an unbalanced line and a flanker, giving him the impression that they're going to the wide field, and now he's come back twice to the short field. That was the best run he's had, and the reason why Pittsburgh overmoved their defense too far, and he got automatically to the short side. Nice automatic play there.
They'll move Robinson offset as the lone back and flex Peterson out to the bottom of the screen for 30 yards and a half. They get it through the air with Brian Peterson taken down to the 35, a pickup of 9 yards. Solid completion for Peterson, who added a lot of strength this year in the offseason.
This is the area that Phillip Rivers has improved the most. He doesn't have that home run ball anymore with Corn Robinson, so he's had to be able to spread it around. Here they give him the option to throw or to run. You can tell he's looking at the defense, trying to figure out how many people they have committed to the alignment. Once he sees they're committed to the run, he decides to stick with the pass, and he has an easy conversion to Peterson.
Toss Robinson has some blocking here. Ray Robinson hit hard at the 26. Yards shy of the first down. That's the first team All Big East performer. Middle linebacker Gerald Hayes.
Robinson, tough runner. Leads the team in receiving. Physical for a guy that's 5'10", 200 pounds. One of the best lifters on the team. Upper body strength. He's a tough guy to bring down. He's had a great year.
He made 2 or 3 really tough, hard runs against Florida State and Tallahassee, which helped them win that ball game.
Second and a yard. 3 down in the minds of some. Blitz. Hayes got to Rivers. Well, Gerald Hayes, who had 6.5 sacks from his middle linebacker spot, tells you they like to bring him in blitz situations. Did it there.
What's interesting about NC State this year is most defenses have decided to sit back and play them in zone. This is a defense, Pittsburgh, that relies on blitzing and playing a lot of man coverage. So coming in, the question was, would they blitz or would they sit back and play zone? In the early going, they're taking some chances and doing what they do best, and they're blitzing the linebacker.
Chris Comer, the right tackle, missed the block on that. He should have just slid in there. It wasn't an overload blitz. It was a mistake by the right tackle, Chris Comer, for why he got to Rivers.
2nd and 1 to 3rd and 7. Rivers finds some space to throw. Robinson. That move forward got him across the line for the first down at the 21.
I think at the end of the night, the people in the country will say Ray Robinson looks like one of the best all-around backs they haven't seen much in college football. I think he's perfect for the Los Angeles Rams offense. I mean, he reminds me of a Marshall Faulk kid. He can catch the ball, he can run it, he can flank her out. Boy, I tell you what, he's a sensational football player.
Very good matchup there. That time they had Hayes, who blitzed to play before, one-on-one with Robinson.
Robinson up the middle. It's spilled. Lewis Moore played like a wishbone to bring him down. I don't mean the Oklahoma bone either. North Carolina State this season, 7-4. We were there for the opening win over Indiana, then at SMU. Then the loss to North Carolina. Things got rocky a little bit. Couple of ACC losses, 3-3. The line in the sand was drawn. The win over Virginia at Duke. The signature win in the history of the league. The first team to win at Florida State. Then they almost beat another top 10 team in Maryland. Rivers is down at the bottom of your screen. Olin Hannum, the backup quarterback, is taking the snap and running option to the 15. Really just a quarterback draw, no option back with it. So Olin Hannum, the senior, who had to play a lot in the final game of the season against Ohio because of an injury to Rivers, in there, and a little bit of a wrinkle that we've seen a few times this year.
Terrific athlete. You'll see him covering kickoffs tonight. He'll be the wedge buster. He'll get down there and give you everything he's got. And he is a football player that you love to have in your team. It's one of these guys you find a way to get him on the field. Even though he's a quarterback, now he's lined up at the top of the screen.
Had 2 receptions this year. Rivers looks his way. Actually, it's the other receiver on that side. It was too high and incomplete. It'll bring up 4th down.
I think there's some confusion here, and surprising play call. 3rd and short. You can see is once Rivers makes the throw here, you can't tell if he's frustrated with himself or if he's frustrated with the wide receivers for not making the right adjustment to the route.
33-yard field goal try. Adam Kiker, 4.0 grade point average. Pretty darn good field goal percentage this year as well. And he ties the game at 3. So the sophomore has evened the game at 3. A couple of long drives have led to field goals. David Priestley gets his turn for Pittsburgh after this. Came up with a sack on 2nd and 1. That meant the touchdown intentions of Phillip Rivers quickly turned to a field goal drive. Adam Kiker closed it out from 32 yards.
It seems like both teams are trying out a few new things that they hadn't worked on before, and I'll bet you when they get back down to the 2nd, 3rd quarter, right onto the ball game, they'll go back to their basic principles of running the football, play action, and trying to beat the other football team physically. It looks like they're trying to trick the other team. All right,
Kind of feel each other out. North Carolina State that last drive, at least they went back to the running game.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Torrey Cox from the goal line. To the 24-yard line. Special team tackle for Thomas Horn. And here's Dr. Jerry Punch with a guest.
Thank you, Michael. It's my pleasure to visit with the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of the state of Florida, Frank Brogan. And Lieutenant Governor, how important are events like this, the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl, to tourism in Central Florida?
Well, the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl is incredibly important to Florida. As you might imagine, Jerry, we have suffered, as the nation, in the wake of 9/11. We're going to host 5 bowl games in the Sunshine State this year, this being the first of those 5. We had 71 million visitors to our state last year, and they can see by tonight's crowd and the great event that we want people to come back and stay in the Sunshine State.
You'll hold it in a second. We'll go back upstairs for the play and come back down. Michael?
Okay, Doc, 1st and 10 from the 25. And Priestley saw his first option covered and comes back for the completion to Bryant, out of bounds at the 32. Go ahead, Jerry.
Lieutenant Governor, this state has been so good to college football over the years, not only for the collegiate teams that play here, but for the postseason bowl games. You mentioned the bowl games are going to be played here, and not only a number in this state, but one more on this field here coming up in a few weeks on New Year's Day.
Indeed. Again, 5 bowl games here in the state of Florida, and Florida, of course, is a hotbed of sports, Jerry, at every level, and certainly collegiate level. So we are proud of these bowl games, and it gives people an opportunity to come to the Sunshine State and see what a wonderful place we are to live and to visit.
Wonderful hospitality. Thank you, sir. Let's go back upstairs to Michael.
Thank you, Jerry. And our thanks to the Lieutenant Governor as well. Lusaka polite with the carry. Be about a yard short of the 1st down. 3rd and 1 coming up.
Speaking of football games, there also is a game in late January here, an All-Star Classic, right here in Orlando, in Citrus Bowl. The 2 coaches are going to be Lindy Infante and Coach Barry Switzer.
Oh, that'll be great.
That'd be a great game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gridiron Classic, right?
Gridiron, yeah. It's going to be here.
Lee will be here. We'll have that for you on our family of networks. Third and a yard and a half. Rod Rutherford in there at quarterback. And he stopped shy of the first down. They bring in Rutherford, the backup in some short yardage situations. And George Anderson was very aware that the quarterback might keep it. And Pittsburgh will not.
Great job here of just knowing the tendencies. When Rutherford goes in, there's a chance that he's going to keep the ball on an option. And this time, North Carolina's defense is ready for him. George Anderson, kind of an unorthodox style all year long. All he does is just make plays. He asks the coaches, is it his speed, his size? They snap. I don't know, guys. He just makes. He's always there to make a big play, and he did there.
Andy Lee's going to see some heat, it looks like. He did last time, too. State spends so much time on special teams. Lee did a nice job getting rid of that one, and a great kick as well. Wow. Jericho Cotchery just lets it bounce, and it's down at the 16. Fabulous kick of 51 yards for Lee. Well, Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN, SportsCenter will remember the legends who left us in 2001. Dale Earnhardt, Corey Stringer, Rashidi Wheeler, Willie Stargell, Al McGuire among them. So many people who made a great impact in sports, no longer with us. Legends of 2001, SportsCenter remembers, at 7 Eastern on Saturday. Somebody who meant a lot to the Florida Citrus Sports Organization as well, Charlie McClendon, the old LSU coach who passed away last month. Also in the thoughts of many down here as the bowl season gets started. Rivers' pass is complete to Willie Wright, the tight end, out to the 35. A 17-yard first down pickup for the senior from Greensboro.
There have been some that have criticized Phillip Rivers and North Carolina State's offense this year for not having the big play the way they did last year with Corin Robinson. Talking to him, it's pretty simple why they're not having an opportunity. Defenses are keeping everything in front of them. Tonight's one of the first games that they've had all year where the defense is challenging them in man coverage. They'll have a shot tonight at some big plays in the pass game.
Toss to Robinson. Good pad popping over there. Gained about a yard or so. Shante Spencer, the corner, stuck his head in run defense. Gerald Hayes closed it out as we close out the first 15 minutes. Offenses look pretty good. Looks like they can move it. I don't think we're going to get to 100 points, though.
No,
I think the record from last night is safe. 3-3. Florida Tangerine Bowl. We're in the Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Dr. Jerry Punch. 2nd and 9 for State. Very well played quarter for two teams that have had almost 4.5 weeks off. No penalties, no turnovers. Brian Peterson, face mask flag should come in there, and there is the first flag of the game after a first down at the 45. Ramon Walker, the junior from Ohio. I think it was a 5-yarder. As always in bowl games, a neutral conference not represented by either team officiates. Rogers Redding and the Southeastern Conference crew will mark off that 5, and we'll check what happened in the first 15 minutes on Game Track.
Phillip Rivers is starting to get into sync more and more. He's now 8 of 11. Great throw there to get North Carolina State's offense going.
David Priestley hit R.J. English right in the hands for a long touchdown pass that was not shown in that game day track.
And Pittsburgh's defense has handled the run so far pretty effectively. Rivers, the sophomore from Alabama. This is option. That is Ray Robinson. And only a couple of yards there. Brian Smith came off the defensive end and made the tackle.
What they're giving Phillip Rivers is the opportunity to get to the line of scrimmage, look it over, and based on their alignment, because they're in a lot of 3 and 4 wide receiver looks, look at Pitt's defense, find out if they have 6 or 7, and what you always hear people talk about, the box. And once he makes that assessment, he then will call either a run or a pass, but it's all predicated upon Pitt's alignment defensively.
Mark Honko, the strong safety, one of the key read men. He's at the bottom of the screen, showing like he's coming. He's dropping off in coverage, as Rivers had no room to step up and throw. Look at that. Wow. You rarely see that many bodies on a pile in a pass situation.
Now, on the Pitt side of the football, when you're playing a team like Rivers and North Carolina State that does that, you must shift your defenses around. That time, Pittsburgh started out with looked like a 7-man front. Before you know it, there was 14 guys in the box.
Yep.
But they did it late. If you're going to blitz a quarterback that is quick as Rivers is, you got to blitz him late, and you got to change late because he's so smart, right, Kurt?
That's exactly right. You can see they're seeing the same thing that we're seeing upstairs, and now they're starting to deke him by showing certain things and then backing out and just trying to play with him if he's going to make calls at the line of scrimmage.
Here you go. Oh, pickup game here.
See that right there?
Little cat and mouse.
There you go. There, that's the point right there.
Third and 8, heat coming. Ponko nearly had him. Rivers put it up top. Incomplete for Kotchery. One of the things that's happening, guys, is Phillip has no space to throw the football.
Yep.
And again, this is something new to North Carolina State, seeing a defense that is going to blitz. Ponko, the safety, comes from the side, just misses him. He buys enough time, puts the ball. If he puts a little bit more air underneath that, easier said from up here, but we don't have 8 or 9 guys chasing us.
True.
A little bit more air, and that's a touchdown. They want these one-on-one matchups for the big play.
Here, Purifoy was coming up the middle. Third punch for Austin Herbert. Trying to get Pittsburgh inside the 20, and Yogi Roth will let it hit, and it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Good news is it's a 48-yard kick. Bad news is it nets only 28. We've had full week of football and some great action on ESPN and ESPN2. And tomorrow at a special time, 5:30 Eastern, the Paladins of Furman, the Grizzlies of Montana, play for the national championship in Chattanooga. Furman won the title in '88. Montana, national champions in '95. As you see, Napier and Humphrey will be key in the game that Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Carson will have for you tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. And a timeout taken by Priestley as NC State was playing a little cat and mouse of its own defensively. 2:13 gone by. Second quarter, all even at 3. And lost 5 in a row, including what some have termed the most embarrassing loss in the history of the program to South Florida at home. After the BC game, it was time to decide if you were in or not in. And as you see, most of the team got in, and they won their final 5 games. You talk to the folks at Pittsburgh, and they talk about what happened that week of the Temple game after the Boston College game. Walt Harris, in no uncertain terms, said, hey guys, if you want to be a part of this team, show up on Monday ready to work. If not, turn in your uniforms. We'll move on without you. That plus the philosophy change changed the tenor of this season. It's a first down run that picks up 5 yards really for Marcus Furman, the true freshman.
I think the loss to South Florida, the second game of the year, was devastating to the psyche of this team. So many high expectations. So many people thought this team was going to make a run. Remember everybody talking about the preseason? I'll tell you, the Miami and Pittsburgh game, look out. That could be an upset waiting. People were talking about 9 or 10 wins, and when they lost that game, I think they spiraled down emotionally and really showed a lot of character for them to be able to recover and win their final 5.
Second and 4, R.J. English lays the block. Furman cut back in that lane. 5 yards, first down to the 31, Willie.
Following point with Kirk, I couldn't agree with more. And let me give you the reasons why that statement is correct. Also, in the middle of the season, they played all their good football teams.
Yeah.
And that's why they got beat. The other teams were better than them. That last part of the season, 4 of the 5 football teams they played were not very good football teams.
But the one that I agree with you.
Virginia
the one
Tech.
that opened your eyes is Virginia Tech. They held Virginia Tech to 15 rushing yards, ran for 150. And if you saw Virginia Tech play Miami, you know it's a good football team. On first and 10, here is the senior Priestley. Loading up for AB. Bryant couldn't get there. Ryan Williams step for step with the junior.
Well, I didn't think Bryant would be able to catch up to it, but I think he did. I think he did, and I think you're going to see Brian Williams, number 29, make a sensational play, just get a hand on the football to knock it away from Bryant, who's, again, one of the best receivers out there, and that's great coverage. He did a good job of coming down with his arm. From there on the replay, you could say, well, that's pass interference, but they're taught that to rip down Great play by Brian Williams.
Williams is also a great special teams player as well. Promised his mother, Bobby, he would finish his education. She's a minister. He's a trash talker at times. But Mom has control. The freshman Furman kept his balance. Terrific spin move and on his way to the 38-yard line. How about that, huh? That was going to be a gain of 3. It turned out to be a gain of 3-2.
One of the main reasons why that play was also very good was the timing of the call. We had pass, 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 a nice little screen. He says, runs to the left right there. The linemen fall down right there. But the fact is that the English got up and ran. The key part about this whole football play, I think, was the call. Marcus Furman made a good run and a good spin. That's a good spin. I know that's a good play. But the call was perfect timing. Pass, 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 screen.
First and 10 from the 37. Priestley. Another release. Raymond Kirkley out of the backfield. You saw Furman came out with his helmet needing adjustment. So the other freshman back, Kirkley, who started a bunch of the season, comes in, gets 22 yards, and he says, keep working on that helmet. I got you down here.
We just reviewed their season. We talked about what happened early in the year. I think a lot of what happened was the offense. This is Walt Harris' offense. He's throwing the ball down the field to the receivers. He's getting the backs involved, dumping there on a screen, finding Kirkley out of the backfield. He picks up big yards. When Pitt's at their best, they're running the ball, they're throwing screens, they're very, very versatile, and they're tough to defend.
When they're doing the best, the offensive line is playing the best.
Pittsburgh in the red zone from the 15, looking to take the lead. Kirkley. Lucky if he got back to the line of scrimmage. Brian Jamison started the tackle party along with Pat Thomas, freshman backup linebacker from Miami.
And Pittsburgh brings back every offensive lineman they have in that starting unit. And that, to me, is where the whole football team starts. If you can control the line of scrimmage by running the football, I think then everything else falls in place.
Probably the most improved area on their team this year from start to finish. Five guys across the front. More experience now. And playing with more continuity up front.
Second and 10. Priestley. Bryant. Touchdown. Pittsburgh.
Pass complete to number 80, Antonio Bryant. In for 6 points for the Panthers.
The reason why that play works is Antonio Bryant has got man-for-man coverage in the secondary, and as watch, they'll bring him drag man underneath him, but then all of a sudden, number 32, Julius Patterson falls down, and Bryant just makes a great catch. But the key to that play was, why was he so wide open? It was because the undercut caused one-on-one coverage. Patterson against Bryant, and forget about it at that time.
And it's not a cover man. It's not a corner. It's the rover there. And it's not the matchup that State wanted, but the matchup that Pittsburgh got. Lutz adds the extra point, and the Panthers take the lead.
This is a complete mismatch. And again, look at Walt Harris as an offensive coordinator. He knew how to find a matchup to get it, and that's the receiver, Antonio Bryant, going up against Julius Patterson one-on-one. And when you get one-on-one with Patterson and Bryant, it's going to be a touchdown. And Pittsburgh right now, I think, feeling a little bit more confident now, up 7.
Orlando.
Yes, good.
Lake Eola right there. Lake Eola. Nice swans going around during the day. Hot dogs. Great place to live.
7 plays, 80 yards in 2.5 minutes. Priestley very solid on the drive. 3 of 4 for 69 yards. And Bryant, the junior, who has first-round talent and ability, could be his final game in the Panther blue and gold. Scored the touchdown there. Pittsburgh's had the better of play. Almost 2-to-1, the ratio of offensive yards thus far. Let's see if State can make something happen on this drive. Short kickoff. Good field position coming for Lamont Reed. 30, 40, and pushed out at the 44. Really tackled. Nice form, too, by Nick Lutz. 30-yard returns. Go back for a unique look at the touchdown.
It's a great shot from the blimp, and you're going to see motion here from English and come back. I think there's a little confusion with Patterson, because Patterson then is going to be ISO one-on-one with Antonio Bryant. Typically with Antonio Bryant, if you're going to leave him in single coverage, you're going to leave him with a corner, not a safety. And I think that motion, bringing him back and then back across, I think may have confused the secondary. And again, one-on-one matchup, it's like Randy Moss getting an opportunity one-on-one in the NFL. You got to capitalize, and they did.
Short field, 55-yard drive. Ray Robinson from the 45. 3 to the 48-yard line. One thing about this Pittsburgh defense, they hit you hard. Gerald Hayes again. That middle linebacker has been called a lot here in our first 20 minutes.
We talked a lot about Priestley and the change of offense winning the ball game, but their defense improved to a fact where they only averaged giving up 1 touchdown a game the last 5 wins. That, my friends, is a very, very good defensive football team. When you only need to score maybe 14 and you're in, not bad.
Not bad at all. Jericho Cotchery, sophomore, who played high school basketball against Phillip Rivers in Alabama. Pass deflected and incomplete. For Brian Peterson underneath. We'll have 3rd down coming up here in the Florida Citrus Bowl. That's the name of the stadium that's hosting the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. As a matter of fact, the Citrus Bowl, it's played on New Year's Day, used to be the Tangerine Bowl. Right. And this building used to be known as the Tangerine Bowl and is now the Citrus Bowl. You got that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
so this game used to be the Citrus Bowl. No, this game was just the Tangerine. Actually, it used to be the Micron PC Bowl down.
Beautiful downtown Orlando.
I'm going to keep going.
That's it.
We're here, they're here, in timeout, North Carolina State. NC State fans are ready for Christmas with their school colors.
Got to pull the slats up.
I don't know what those guys are ready for, but we're ready for a commercial. Turned it around. We've spent a lot of time talking about the offense, but look at the defense. 7.4 points allowed the last 5 games. All the numbers have gotten better, and that bottom line really says more than anything else, I think. 3 offensive touchdowns in the last 5 games.
Actually, only 2, if you count the one where Pittsburgh's own offense fumbled on their own 2-yard line, and then the defense gave up a touchdown. They've been playing well all year. The problem is the offense was turning the ball over so much in the early part of the year that it put the defense in some bad positions.
3rd and 6. Pitt rushes 5. Receiver fell, and the pass is incomplete. Brian Peterson tried to make a cut and slip. We've seen a few players slide on the area outside the hash marks tonight. Punting time for the Wolfpack.
Pittsburgh doing a good job of confusing the North Carolina State offense. They're not just sitting in man. They're not just sitting back in soft zone coverage, mixing up their coverage quite a bit. Therefore, the receiver and the quarterback can't find any rhythm.
4th punt in 5 possessions. Yogi Roth lets the Austin Herbert kick bounce again. It was kept in play and downed at the 1. Terrific covering job by the long snapper, Danny Young. Kept it from going across the goal line. Juan Dixon, one of the supreme performers in the ACC. Number 2 Maryland takes on number 21 Oklahoma on the road tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN. Gary Williams' team got to the Final 4 last year. They haven't missed a beat this year. They look pretty solid. Chance to see them with Holden and Wilcox. Talented front line. They might be back at the Final 4 this year. Long field for the Panthers. They run with the fullback, Lusaka Polite. And a sophomore out of Woodland Hills, one of those great football playing high schools in the Pittsburgh area. Gained a couple of yards. Such a rich, fertile football area, Western PA. And now Pittsburgh has really made recruiting inroads with the stadium, the program, and their facilities.
And Penn State's losing. That's the best thing that's ever happened to that kid, that guy Harris right there. His paternal's not going to a bowl game.
Chance to have more success in state. And when you can control your state, or at least be on an even footing makes recruiting much different. Priestley in trouble. Used his feet to get away. Got a nice block to gain another yard. He's going to be just shy of the first down. Roosevelt finds the freshman receiver with the big block. And here's Doc.
Guys, not good news for NC State on the sidelines. Their All-American linebacker, LeVar Fisher, has gone to the locker room. X-ray just came out a moment ago. He has a broken left arm, a non-displaced fracture. Let me show you on the left arm, right below the elbow. There's a fracture of the radius. That's a large bone in the forearm, just below the elbow, non-displaced fracture, but he's done for the night.
All right, Jerry. And LeVar Fisher, a senior, who came back and was so worried about injury in his senior season, and was injured, had concerns with his knee injury. He's able to play through that, but not this one. Rod Rutherford back in at quarterback. He's the running short yardage quarterback. Let's see where the spot is. It looks like it's enough for a Pittsburgh first down.
You mentioned Fisher being concerned about getting injured and making a decision to come back for his senior year. You know what? There's so many young men out there who make a decision as either redshirt sophomores or juniors to decide to declare and leave, or they have that decision to stay. If you make the decision to stay, don't look back. If you sit there and you worry about getting injured, you're better off just declaring and leaving. So many guys come back and then they play not to get hurt, and they end up getting hurt.
Rutherford got enough for the first down. Priestley back in at quarterback in a 10-3 game. Looking long. Antonio Bryant reeled it in at the 38 and a marker down. He was working on J.J. Washington, the sophomore cornerback who's in for the injured Marcus Hudson.
Antonio Bryant, and I'm telling you right now, will not be playing at Pitt next year. He's going to play in the National Football League for this one thing. Kirk, watch his adjustment to the ball with his head right here. It's right over the receiver's hands. Watch. Perfect concentration. I think that is an NFL type play, and I think he's coming out based on the fact, number one, he gets hurt a lot. He has a problem with the coaching.
Right.
Why mess around and have another ankle injury when that kid can come out and play football in the National Football?
Physically, he's a top 5, top 10 type of pick in the NFL. Mentally, that's the thing that's been holding him back. You're probably right. He's probably going to come out and decide to go and play in the NFL.
I think so.
The guy has incredible ability. The moral of the story tonight, North Carolina State probably doesn't want to leave him in one-on-one situations too often.
Dietrich Gills was the all-time Pittsburgh leading receiver. Bryant now holds that mark. That was his longest catch of the year, a 49-yarder. Priestley uses the middle. It's Bryant again. And he spins to the 26-yard line away from D'Antonio Burnett's tackle. And the other linebacker, Brian Jamison, is slow to get up after finishing the play. So they've lost LeVar Fisher to a broken arm, the senior weak side linebacker. Now the senior strong side linebacker, Jamison, is injured.
Not a good thing. Sign you like to see from a wide receiver who wants to make the jump to the next level is not to be a prima donna and just catch the ball outside and one-on-one. You need to be able to show the toughness to get inside where the safeties and linebackers are, especially when you're a tall, rangy receiver. And there, he has shown that ability throughout his career, and there you get a chance to see it firsthand.
And I think also one of the reasons why he's going to the National Football League is the fact that he started to play not only for Pitt, but for himself in the middle of the season. And everybody started saying, you want to play? Show us something. I'll guarantee you he has showed him something in the last 5 games. And tonight also.
Roger Pollard, 39 lead, a sophomore from Miami, Florida, has come in at linebacker. They also have Pat Thomas, 47, a freshman from Miami, Florida. Young in the linebacking corps right now because of the injuries. Priestley still gets pressure and is sacked by Pollard first. Second sack of the year. One thing Chuck Amato has done in terms of turning this program around is get down here in Florida and recruit. He controlled South Florida with Bobby Bowden, Florida State so well. He's kept all of his ties. He's still very active recruiting down there. And these are some of the kids who are the beneficiaries of that work. Pollard back to the bench because they're 5 DBs now on 2nd and 16. 4 receivers out. Shovel pass. Furman to the 27. Here's Jerry with an update.
Well, news not real good here in Wolfpack land. On this side of the field, Brian Jamison, senior strong side linebacker, just came limping off the field a moment ago. Just look at Brian out of Swedesboro, New Jersey. And Jamie Call, the Wolfpack trainer, working on his left thigh and hip area. Severe pain for Jamison. They've already lost LeVar Fisher. They're going to try to pad Jamison's left thigh. It's a deep bruise just above the knee. A lot of spasm, a lot of discomfort. But they're going to try to get him back on the field. Michael?
All right, Jerry. Two tough players to lose. The future of the program is now the linebacking area. Priestley looking for a 7th straight completion. Has it with Lamar Slade, the junior, out of bounds at the 11. And NC State is on the ropes right here.
It is absolutely unfair to put any of the guys in white jerseys against Antonio Bryant or any of these receivers the way they're running. Watch this nice cut. I'm telling you, Walt Harris is an offensive genius in the passing game that he understands and knows. And that was Lamar's shade. Was that right?
Yes, it was.
I don't care if it's Bryant. I don't care if it's shade. You notice the precision? That's extremely well-coached football team when the number 2 receiver can do as well as the number 1 receiver.
Nice throw also by Priestley to put it on the money and on time to give Slade that chance.
1st and 10 from the 11. Priestley's throw to English. To the 5-yard line. What a good, solid group of receivers here, Kirk, with Bryant, the junior, Slade also a junior, English is a senior, who led the Big East in yards per game this year.
And they have another young one coming up, Roosevelt Bynes, who can fly. Maybe the most exciting of the bunch. So they have a great group, and I think the offense going back to the old style has helped all of them get more involved in this system.
2nd and 5 for a 1st down. 5.5 for a touchdown. Priestley, intercepted and dropped. Oh, a chance for Pat Thomas on the deflection, but he couldn't scoop it up. Just trying the little pop pass to the back. After 8 completions in a row, Chuck Amato's team desperately needed that 9th one, not to be incomplete, but intercepted.
Well, the defense did their job. They had an opportunity here for the turnover, and right there, you could see the ball gets freed from his arms and touches the surface. But the defense put a little bit more pressure. Thunder Dan Burnett got in there and made a big hit to get David Priestley back and feeling a little bit more heat.
Pittsburgh's taking the timeout. It's 2nd. They have 1 remaining. Pittsburgh is dominating the game offensively. They're looking to take a 2-touchdown. Tonight, the Monster.com blimp is providing us with some nice views inside the Florida Citrus Bowl as we watch the 2001 Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. Pittsburgh leading 10-3, looking to extend that lead as they have 3rd and 4 for the 1st down, 5 for the touchdown.
You can see this game being dominated right now by Pittsburgh. 231 yards of total offense.
They've brought Jamison back in the game with that bruise that Jerry talked about. Pat him up and get him out there. Senior, last game.
Well, he's got one-on-one at the bottom with Antonio Bryant again. Got him
Movement. Flag came down. They snapped it immediately once NC State came into the neutral zone. And here's the interesting thing. From the 5, this will be half the distance to the goal if it's offside. It's not the walk-off for the 1st down. If it's against NC State.
Have a dead ball foul, offside against the defense, half the distance to the goal, still 3rd down.
You know, in other situations, in 3rd and 4, that's great. You got the 1st down. Here you still have 3rd and a couple. That's just the game's 2nd penalty, 1 per side. Extremely well played for this long layoff.
Look for the bottom again. If he wants it, he has Antonio Bryant in the fade.
Priestley, peek that way, throw that way, Bryant, touchdown.
Well, he's red hot, and North Carolina State is continuing to leave defensive backs isolated. Here, instead of going to the fade to the corner, it's the fade comeback. Nice throw by Priestley, throwing the ball on time, and a good job of using his body by Antonio Bryant to keep the defender away from him. He gets his second score of the night.
Somebody came to play tonight.
He sure did.
Nick Lotz for the extra point. That one wasn't pretty, but it counts just the same.
Antonio Bryant is playing a sensational football game. They got 1-1 on coverage on him. There's nobody in America can cover him, much less North Carolina State. That was a perfect pass to the outside. Good. Now watch Priestley, who's very, very excited. Priestley, Bryant, together, they're winning this game, and they're gone after this one, both of them.
And it's taken by Greg Golden, who's had a couple of nice returns, and Golden breaks free! Greg Golden, foot race with Torrey Cox. Touchdown! I don't know why that was a line drive low kick. Squibbing down there with 4 minutes left. But it wasn't needed. More of that South Florida speed. Golden, the true freshman from St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Extra point is added by Kiker. And is the first return for a kickoff for the Wolfpack in 5 years since Alvis Whitted did it against Florida State back in September of '96.
Well, Mike, you mentioned a low kick, and anytime it's a low kick, it's going to give the return team an opportunity to set up some blocks. And right here, you're going to see a key block right there, right in the middle of the screen, from right to left. I think it was Contre Jackson pushing Purifoy out of the way and giving Golden a huge running lane right up the middle.
Greg Golden's got that super South Florida speed. The one thing I liked about this, they've set this play up 3 times. It's exactly the same place they've run 3 times before. Twice he's made it back at least to 40 to 45, and that time all the way. So you know what I like about that? Chuck Amato learned that at Florida State. You work hard on little things like this. If your football team's not playing well offensively, or if they're not playing well defensively, you can sneak up on people and score and beat them with special teams. That's a Florida State trait that Chuck Amato brought to him from North Carolina State.
You know, Chuck Amato was a Bobby Bowden assistant for so long, for 18 seasons, and he always talks about how Bobby gave him a lot of responsibility. And in return, Chuck Amato has taken so much of the Florida State mindset and applied it to this team. There's always been good talent at NC State, but now Chuck's taken it to a next level because of that speed.
I think you guys talked about recruiting the state of Florida, and most especially going down to Miami. I think besides speed, I think that's an attitude that he's recruiting. And you can see in the last 2 years at North Carolina State, they're starting to take on that Florida State kind of demeanor, that swagger that you see at Tallahassee every single year.
Torrey Cox from Miami's Northwestern High School. He wants to return one. He's got an opening up the middle, and he got to the 30. The mind was going faster than the feet could. Mind always going fast with Chris Fowler. And here he is in the studio. Hello, CF.
Oh, the master of the segue. Mike, coming up at halftime, some mixed news, much of it bad for Alabama as they get set for the Independence Bowl. We'll feature the hits of the 2001 season, plus some college hoops scores and highlights. Several Big East teams in action. Terry Bowden, Mark May join me for SportsCenter in-game. Back to you.
All right, Chris. Pittsburgh's basketball team 10-1. They beat Ohio State last night. Marcus Furman, right side. Stopped by the last line of defense across midfield at the 49. And Furman is shaken up. Julius Patterson beaten for the earlier touchdown by Antonio Bryant. Saved a touchdown there. And they'll look at the true freshman.
Marcus freshman, 5'8", 175. Nice. Marcus Furman, excuse me. He has a nice play here because of the fact is you'll notice the right tackle. The right tackle, Matt Morgan, comes around the right side and blocks to the outside. I've seen this play more and more, Mike. I've seen it in NFL more and more, where they pull those tackles around the outside, put them on the corners, and allow those running backs to run behind them. The St. Louis Rams, my favorite team, are the ones that do that more than anybody. And I tell you what, the colleges are now doing it more than ever.
You see, especially in this Walt Harris offense, so many pro-style plays as Furman gets up.
But he always refers to it as a West Coast offense. The big block by the tackle, also a huge block by R.J. English. That's one of the things that the Pittsburgh offense demands from their wide receivers. Not only go out and make a big catch, but watch English here take out Holt. And he's opened it right up. He took away Pat Thomas and Terrence Holt by coming down and having that crack block.
Well, he is a receiver who might not have the best speed out there, but they have told R.J. English special teams blocking the little things are going to be the things that are going to keep you on an NFL roster.
He's incredibly athletic.
After a pickup of 21, here's Kirkley, the other tailback. That's 9.5 yards. R.J. English has had a couple of knee surgeries, and Jerry can detail it far better than we can with the types of knee surgeries he's had, but has had to battle rehab a couple of times, a former walk-on, but he's retained his speed, and he is someone who emerged. As a matter of fact, I mentioned earlier, he led the Big East in receiving yards per game 5 straight years. Murphy, Grimm the last 2 years, Antonio Bryant, this year R.J. English. Pittsburgh has had the Big East leading receiver in average yards per game. 2nd and 1. Priestley, pocket collapse, and he goes down. That's Terrence Martin, sophomore from Virginia. Closed in and closed it down.
Yeah. David Priestley trying to go to the well one too many times. Again, had an opportunity off to the left to try to get the ball thrown out one-on-one to Antonio Bryant, who beat his man for a touchdown. If they would have given him just another split second, Priestley was looking out to the left against Brian Williams. Bryant is, again, deep with not any support behind Brian Williams. And that's just, again, very easy throw. This time they walk the safety over to help against Bryant.
Lamont Reed, the freshman's out there in coverage on Bryant, and the whistles blow on this one. That sack, by the way, by Terrence Martin was the first for a player who was in junior college last year and has walked right into a starting role this season.
They think he could be a superstar in the future.
The game against the offense, the 25 fired, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
6'4", 290. He is incredibly quick, potential to be a dominating player, only a sophomore. I think that's the thing that's helped North Carolina State's defense overall. 3 junior college players, and they're getting production from all 3 of them. Much more speed, much more depth on the front line this year for North Carolina State.
That delay penalty, Kirk, made it 3rd and 16. Another 3rd and 21. Matt Morgan, the right tackle.
Have a dead ball, false start against the offense. And prior snap, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Some of the teams are starting to do this on defense now throughout the country. After watching what Tennessee did against the University of Florida with their interior linemen, they kept a lot of them up in 2-point stances and moved them around. They didn't even know where they were going to blitz, much less the Florida team. And you know what, Kirk? That really hurt Florida. And you know, this is what Tennessee's defense has done to other people now.
Here's 3rd and 21. Up the middle of the rush to pass it. Out early and incomplete. That pressure came from Terrence Chapman, who is jawing with Priestley.
That's where Priestley gets in trouble, when he lets the emotions get the best of him. He's also going to get beat up. But he has to just let that go and come off the field. Watch him get hit.
A little forearm in the back.
He's got to walk away from that. He sometimes lets his emotions get the best of him, too. When he plays under control, he's a great player.
State sniffing at Andy Lee. 10 white shirts look like 20 right there right now. Roughing or running into the kicker. Probably roughing, as the fair catch was called by Kochery at the 25.
You think that was roughing?
Oh, yeah, I agree with him. I'll tell you why.
Oh, they called it running into.
It looks like he was trying to slow up.
Well,
Let's check it out.
all in the eyes of the beholder. In my opinion, when you saw him start, he looked like he was holding up, but he didn't lower his body.
Personal
Watch.
foul.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, they did
Roughing
call
the
it.
kicker.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's receiving
Good call,
team.
guys.
15-yard penalty for the automatic first down.
And let me tell you why he was right in that situation, Mike was. The fact is, when I watched the guy start to hole up, usually his head comes up. That guy's head was down, and his body was going like a bullet and hit the man. Watch him right here.
That's Lamont Reed, the freshman.
See that?
Yeah, that's good. Yep, good call.
When the kicker's in that prone position, the referee's going to call that a 15-yarder. Try to protect the kickers as much as possible. That little bump into the guy on the way by is the 5-yard job.
The thing that caught me there was you're right, his head was down, but he just barely touched it.
Right.
It wasn't real physical.
So from 4th and 21 to 1st and 10 Pittsburgh at the state 45. Incomplete and behind tight end Chris Wilson. That could be a very big penalty in the game. NC State had momentum and was going to get the ball back, and at worst would have been 17-10 at halftime.
It's going to be interesting to watch the mind games now. I think North Carolina State saw they got a reaction from pushing on Priestley a little bit. And if they can get him to think more about them and talking trash back and forth, now they've got him out of his game a little bit. And that becomes a mind game between Priestley and the defense of North Carolina State.
2nd and 10, nobody's open. Priestley's waiting for a receiver to work for him. And there's that guy. Lamar Slade at the 36, yards shy of the first down. 1 timeout left with a turning clock, and Priestley will stop it at 34. 3rd and a yard coming up here. You're right about the heat. It's getting hotter on the quarterback.
Lamar Slade right here at 6'4", 205 is physical enough to run through the receiver. Now that's Bryant right there.
That's Slade.
That's Slade. It's good. They look, you know what? They look so much alike from up here, and I just looked at the numbers quickly, but they're right. Lamar Slade, 6'4", 205. The one thing I would do here, I don't care if it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, I'd make sure that it was not one man only on Antonio Bryant. Even if he was on the sideline, I'd have a guy over there watching him.
I think that's going to be an adjustment you'll see him make in the second
have
half.
to.
You got to get Holt
Somebody.
or Patterson, move them over to allow the corners. The corners just can't survive the second half one-on-one.
Well, let's talk about the first half. Bryant's had 7 catches, 101 yards, and a couple of touchdowns for Pittsburgh.
Well, it's been an opportunity for Antonio Bryant to show America that, number one, he's healthy, he's able to play, and this is what happens when you try to defend him one-on-one. And Priestley, give him some credit because he's been putting the ball right on the numbers. They're in sync tonight. One-on-one opportunities. He's been able to get 2 touchdowns tonight in mismatched situations. And will be, again, something to watch in the second half, whether or not Chuck Amato elects to sit back and play the same defense or make some adjustments to try to slow down Antonio Bryant.
3rd and a yard. Polite runs. Lose Saka Polite to the 1-yard line and out of bounds. A man who gained 77 yards all year had 35 on that run.
The interesting thing about that call, we're talking about passing this, passing that, everybody else. It's 3rd and 1. They give them a nice drive play. Look at the hole in it, because everybody's playing pass defense. And it's 3rd and 1. The game of football has changed so much, it's impossible for me to believe that any football team would line up on 3rd and 1 and play pass defense. But you know what? You almost have to, the way these guys throw the football around.
Timeout State.
Well, that's a brilliant call by Walhead.
NC State will have 1 timeout left, and you go back to the momentum. 17-10's the score. Chuck Amato's team's going to get the ball, but Lamont Reed, the freshman, gets the roughing the kicker penalty. Pitt gets it back, and they could take a 2-touchdown lead to the locker room.
Well, it's something that North Carolina State, they're going to go back and look at themselves at halftime and think, what have we done? But they've got to be able to stay in this game. All it takes is one play to get back in. We saw the kickoff return, got them right back in this game. If they give this touchdown up, it's going to be up to Chuck Amato to get the troops in at halftime and say, hey, we've been here before. Let's come back out in the second half and make the adjustments.
And look at the yardage difference. 298 yards given up by Amato's defense in the first half. His offense has only 69 yards. You add all the numbers up there. Whew.
Seems like we've been talking a lot about Antonio Bryant and the Pittsburgh offense, but the defense has been playing well. You got Rutherford now under center.
Rutherford, the running quarterback, who has 6 touchdowns on the year. No timeouts here. They run with Rutherford, and he is in. Touchdown. So the sophomore Rod Rutherford gets his 7th rushing touchdown on the season.
Well, when he comes into the game, you know it's either a sneak or an option.
Nick Lotz, the extra point. Flags are down. Andy Lee is his holder. Kurt Johnson is snapper. And they're going to have to do this one again.
Dead ball foul. False start. Offense movement in the offensive line prior to the 5 penalty.
So we'll re-kick it here. Three consecutive possessions with a touchdown for Pittsburgh, and that one was kept alive by Lamont Reed and the roughing the kicker. Lots of 25-yard extra point. Still good. And the Panthers lead by 14.
All right, the situation is 4th down and 95 yards to go. So North Carolina State is going to do a nice thing. They're going to try to get back in the ball game, trying to block a kick from the outside out, Florida State style. But watch Lamont Reed right here as he goes in through. He tries to slow down, but he keeps his head down in a position where it gives the perception to the official that not only was the kicker in a bad position, that he was trying to hurt the kicker. If he'd have said what you did, Mike, if he went down and put his head up, I think it'd have been a 5-yard penalty, and they wouldn't have scored that touchdown.
Reed, of course, familiar to not only North Carolina State fans, but fans of the game for making that tackle against Maryland, catching up to the guy and making the tackle and causing the fumble at about, what, the half-yard line? It looked like to secure a victory until Maryland came back to win that game.
Touchdown in the final minute. NC State played back-to-back games, Kirk, against top 10 teams. Florida State, the win in Tallahassee, and then Maryland was ranked 9th and 10th in the polls. A great game that went down to the final minute.
If I didn't know better, just looking at these 2 football teams, it looked like to me the white team, North Carolina State, expected to be here and expected to win. And the Pitt team and the blue team was going to show these guys they deserve to be here.
Another line drive kick. This one to the right side of the formation. There's Golden, who had a touchdown for 90 yards last time. He is met at the 25. Good special teams hit by Brandon Williams, the linebacker. Oh, we've seen the pictures from above the Florida Citrus Bowl tonight. Brought to us by Monster.com's East Coast blimp, Trump. I don't know if you realize that Trump was the name of the East Coast blimp.
One good thing about that psychologically, isn't it wonderful to be able to talk to a college football game and have a blimp over the stadium again? Remember?
Yeah,
it wasn't a couple and 2 months, 6 to 8 weeks ago, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was dangerous. You could not have a blimp anywhere near. God bless America, man.
Here. The 25, Olin Hannum came in and handed it to Coach Trey Jackson. Got out to the 43, and now with 6 seconds left, at least you have a chance to take a shot down the field. You just put one up for grabs. Interesting that Rivers is on the bench here for these final couple of plays. Olin Hannum in a quarterback. I don't know if the toe injury is bothering Rivers. Didn't seem that way. They just go inside handoff with Jackson. He's going to get down the field. He banged into the umpire, who's okay. And the half is over. Antonio Bryant had 155 yards in the Inside.com Bowl last year. He has 101 at the break of the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl and 2 touchdowns. That's the margin. Pitt 24, NC State 10. Alive led to the score. Here's Pittsburgh starting with Lou Polite, who had a big run before. Gets it out to the 20. Here's Jerry to tell you what happened with State at the break.
Guys, in my 14 years of college football, I've never been in a locker room like what I saw at halftime with Chuck Amato. No team sessions, no offense or defense. Chuck set everyone down, stood in the middle, and talked for about 8.5 minutes. And you see Chuck in the locker room a moment ago. He said it's not about X's and O's, guys. It's about being embarrassed on national television. It's about wanting, it's desire. It's not the same football team to beat Florida State. Now you know why these guys pummeled Virginia Tech. We are not getting it done. This first series, second half, we've got to stop them. We've got to come out and play physical Wolfpack football. An emotional halftime by Chuck Amato.
Good stuff, Doc. 2nd and 5. Here is Polite. First down. Lusaka Polite took it across the 25, and they're not able to get Pittsburgh off the field in the first 3 plays of this drive.
When you saw the injury to Fisher and then to Jamison, although Jamison is back out on the field playing injured, he's not at 100%, you saw Pittsburgh's offense change. They went more to running the football to the inside with Polite and also getting the ball to Kirkley and Furman. They're going to try to attack these linebackers because they don't have, they're not at 100% if they're out there, and they got some young linebackers that they're trying to take advantage of.
Polite, the fullback, has run it the first few times in this drive. Make it first 3. He's taking it out to the 29. Jerry, what about Walt Harris going in?
Well, Michael, get accustomed to seeing Lusaka Polite and company, because at halftime, Walt Harris said we want to come out in the second half and establish the run game. We want to be physical up front. We feel like we control the line of scrimmage with our offensive front, so we want to come out in the 3rd and 4th quarter, run the big guy, Polite and company. So expect quite a bit of the run game coming here in the 3rd quarter, at least, from Walt Harris's Pitt Panthers.
Polite out, Raymond Kirkley in, and Marcus Furman, the freshman back who was so good early on tonight, had a long run as well, is on the sideline, but he doesn't have his helmet in hand. Usually when a guy doesn't have his helmet, it means he may not have been cleared to be out there on the field. Priestley, 3-step throw to English. Yard shy of the first down. Terrence Holt, the junior, made the tackle.
Where Pittsburgh right now is having to make a decision defensively when North Carolina State defensively gets into position to either blitz or sit back and zone. Walt Harris and the offense are doing a good job of sitting back, and in man situations they're making them pay for that with a big play, and then in zone they're finding open pockets and picking up valuable yardage.
Big play, heart and desire play. The State wants to stem this drive right here. And they'll go play pass. One receiver out for English. He's covered. Puts it up there anyway. And he caught it at the 30. And a flag to boot for a face mask. Well, English was covered on the little quick hit. He moved it down the field, and he moved the chains with a pickup of 36 plus the flag.
You talk about a play like R.J. English does here that takes the wind right out of you. It's to fake the ball on 3rd and 1 and then go over the top against man-for-man coverage. The reason why that play worked is they called it at a perfect time.
We have a face mask foul against the defense. 5-yard penalty added into the run. First down.
To keep your eye on number 84, R.J. English. As he breaks down here, right to this point, he is covered. But now he keeps running, makes a nice adjustment to the football. But the key point about this whole thing is why is he one-on-one coverage there? Because it was 3rd and 1, and they expected to see a run. Very good call by Walt Harris.
From the 23, Kirkley -3. Pat Thomas, 47, started. D'Antonio Burnett and Corey Smith aided. Again, Thomas is playing because of the injury to LeVar Fisher. First-team All-American. National, we're not talking league here. First-team All-America linebacker. Broken arm. His great NC State career done. The all-time leading tackler in the history of NC State football. came back this year, was concerned about a knee injury or something else happening. The knee did get hurt. He had to wait a long night to find out if it was a torn ACL. He prayed, found out it wasn't, was able to keep playing, didn't miss much time. The arm injury tonight ends his career. Priestley to Polite. Nice open field hit to Polite. Keep scoring. Lou Saka Polite. Let me tell you about some hard running from the sophomore from Pittsburgh, PA.
Where you get into trouble, you get back. You're so concerned with all these great receivers that the backs can hurt you. But once they dump it out here, listen to this hit. Brian Jameson's giving you everything. I don't know if he's going to be able to walk tomorrow, but number 20 linebacker right here. How'd that one feel?
Wow. It's third and a couple. 4 receivers, 1 back. They passed in this situation before. Deflected and incomplete. The opportunity now after Corey Smith, the man who forced a half dozen fumbles this year, deflected that. And the opportunity, Priestley hobbled a bit to get the kick blocking strength of NC State. Perhaps to make another momentum swing in this game.
Walt Harris' strategy has been perfect here. Balanced offense. The key thing also, he's taken 5 minutes off of the clock.
Terrence Holt, great kick blocker, comes after this 33-yarder for lots. You see, he got submarined on his way up. And the kick was good. Very well done by special teams for Pittsburgh tonight. Terrence Holt is great up in the air, adjusting to the ball, lays out all the time, even in practice, trying to block kicks. He hasn't gotten in the head of Nick Locks tonight. Look at number 9 go all the way up. Come all the way down hard, too. Torrey's brothers made a name for himself on special teams, but tonight, Pittsburgh special 2001 Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl has seen Pittsburgh continue its great offensive performance after the 1-5 start. Panthers have averaged 32 points per game. They are in position to go over, but you know that key number that the coaches love. Turnovers, just over 1 per game in the last 5 and nothing tonight. Buddy Green, who coordinates the NC State defense, saw his unit yield just 3 there. But the offense has only scored 3 for NC State tonight. The other touchdown came on a kickoff return by Greg Golden, who has it now. Well covered. Golden brought down to 25. Not the best half Phillip Rivers has ever had. 8 of 14, just 55 yards for the sophomore from Athens, Alabama.
Doc talked about the emotions at halftime from Chuck Amato. This is an opportunity now for Phillip Rivers. He's had a number of starts, even though he's a young quarterback. 23 starts, making his 4th or 24th career start tonight. Right. He needs to step up right now and make some plays.
4 wide, 1 back. I think we'll see it. Caught by Brian Peterson. 31.
From all the years I've experienced in my coaching career, the guy that's making a halftime talk like Chuck Amato did is usually losing because they did a poor job of preparation the week during the game. The reason that is I think this game, State came in here thinking they were going to whip Pitt because they had a lousy record, and now all of a sudden they're starting to use pep talks, and I promise you, unless I'm wrong, it ain't going to help them.
Rivers runs for the first down. Diving down at the 27-yard line. NC State did come down here 3 days earlier than Pittsburgh. They were here for 6 days total. The Panthers came in on Monday.
Really impressed tonight with this Pittsburgh defense. Paul Rhodes, the defensive coordinator, has a theory 11 is playing as 1, and tonight we're seeing that.
NC State not huddling after these first 2 plays. And is complete to Willie Wright, senior tight end who caught 40 this year. Picked up about 5 there. That first half scores for NC State. Didn't run a bunch of plays other than that 1 field goal drive. It was ugly, to be honest. really, those 32 yards were garbage yards at the end of the half with a couple of run plays when Pittsburgh was just protecting the deep ball. 2nd and 6. That's pass interference. First down, NC State. Torrey Cox got there too early on Troy Graham. Both Miami guys. Troy Graham went to Central High School in Miami, and Torrey Northwestern.
The thing that's changed so much about college football, coaches, you saw it last night. When you have a quarterback and you have an offense where you get into this no-huddle stuff and you get 4 or 5 receivers out, quarterback's throwing the ball downfield, you can come back in games.
Yeah, no question.
I mean, it's 17 points, 8:47 to go in the third quarter. That is...
We have pass interference against the defense. The penalty is an automatic first down at the spot of the foul. First down.
It's at the spot of the foul because it's not beyond 15 yards.
5 or 10 years ago, you're talking about climbing a serious hill. But in today's game, with a quarterback like this, you can come back in a football game if you can play inspired on defense to get the ball back to Phillip Rivers. But they got to score on this drive.
That pass is Sterling Hicks. First reception of the night. The freshman, about 12 this year. Brian Peterson is shaken up.
The one thing that has impressed me about Pittsburgh, they're flying around and hitting people a lot better than they did when we first saw them at the beginning of the year. Confidence, coaching, whatever you want to call it, they're a much better football team right now than they were at the beginning of the year.
That's why I was saying we talked about their turnaround. Forget the numbers. The numbers prove that they played better in the second half. I think just the speed of the defense.
Everything.
They are flying around.
Peterson is pointing to his right knee. He's the junior who was top among the wide receivers in pass catches with 48 this year. Ray Robinson, the tailback, had 52. But then Peterson, who early on stepped into the role of Corn Robinson. Remember Robinson, the outstanding receiver, left early, go to the Seattle Seahawks, where he's finally gotten up to speed from an NFL standpoint. May have gone a little too early to the NFL. But Peterson was the one who stepped in, a high school quarterback who became a starter at wide receiver only after injuries. And the good news is he's jogging off the field after getting his legs tangled with Keegan Weir, the offensive lineman.
Very dangerous.
And if there's anybody who knows about the injuries on the football field, it's Keegan Weir, the offensive lineman who didn't make it out of the opening game the last 2 years with broken leg injuries, but has made it the distance here in 2001. Even though Peterson's out, still 4 receivers, 2nd and 8. They rush 5. Rivers looks for the long ball. It was covered. He's taken off. Get the first down and get out of bounds at the 35. Pick up a 12. Phillips not really going to challenge anybody as rushing quarterbacks for yards gained. That's his long of the season there.
Well, he wanted Edwards on an out and up. Like you mentioned, a long ball, little pump fake. Pittsburgh's defense didn't buy into it. I'll tell you what, he reminds me so much of Bernie Kosar.
He does.
You know, Bernie Kosar in college, where Bernie didn't have great speed, great agility. See Edwards gets caught up there. Ponko stays with him. Downfield, there's nowhere to go. He just looks like that the way he scrambles. Just enough mobility to pick up a couple first downs on this drive.
Got 5 to the 30. How does Ponko stay with Edwards? Devontae Edwards is this fleet, fast, down the field guy. Here's Ponko.
Short, 5'10", 200-pounder.
14 in blue. He's one of those guys who makes covering football fun. 3rd leading tackler on this Pittsburgh Panther team. Quarterback of the secondary. Walked on in 97. Special teams MVP and the key player keeping it all together in that secondary now. Robinson runs and is stopped by Gerald Hayes, first-team all-conference linebacker. Here's Jerry to update us on Brian Peterson.
And pretty good news for NC State fans. Peterson, the junior split end, came out, took a helmet to the outside of the right knee, came limping off. He thought he heard maybe a pop. They brought him to the sidelines. Mike Baggenbaum, team orthopedic surgeon, checks him over. He's up walking around. Should be back in momentarily. Just a mild bruise.
All right, Jerry, thank you. 3rd and 3. We need to get to the 25 to keep this drive going. Rivers lost it as he went to throw it and now gets sacked. saying incomplete pass in your mind, but I guess they ruled that the ball came out before the arm started going forward, so it's a recovered fumble.
Remember when Chuck Amato said it wasn't the X's and what's in the O's, it's the execution and focus. It's things like that. I'll guarantee you he hasn't done that 5 times this year because he was focused better. I think the preparation for North Carolina State has been lacking before the game started. And I think they're trying to make up for it now with, you know, some good plays, etc., but they can't.
Flag down here, 4th and 7.
Well, dead ball foul. Substitution infraction against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Good fourth down.
It's interesting because I don't think they huddle. A substitution infraction is usually when you break the huddle with 12 and run somebody off the field. They were changing personnel in a no-huddle situation, but in any case, they're going to punt at 4th and 12. Only down 17 with 21 minutes left in the game. Oh, field goal. Correction. They're going to try the long field goal.
It comes
perhaps,
to Pooch.
Perhaps a Pooch punch from Austin Herbert. Let's see. From here, it would be a 55-yard field goal, and there is the Pooch kick. And Herbert does a nice job.
Nice.
Knocking it out at the 11. The old Pooch punt.
The old Pooch. That's coming back now.
It is.
What game was with the kid was back there and it hit him and they lost the game?
We'll get that answer after this, please.
You're at a stoplight.
This bowl game since 1978. How about that for 4 drives?
You see, that's I'm going back to a point. That comes from coaching, preparation, the week of the game, not during the game.
I think it's hunger, too, desire.
But that's focus, Kirk.
Yeah, I know.
That's focus.
2nd and 10. State needs to make a big play here. English holds on tight, takes him to the 22-yard line. First down.
I think it's also, people need to understand where Pitt was early in this season after 6 games at 1-5. I mean, they had an opportunity. Imagine going to practice on a Monday and a Tuesday when you're 1-5 and you still have 5 games to go. That's tough. You can fold your tent very easily there mentally. They decided not to, and they went on to win 5 straight games.
Well, that's when Walt Harris said, hey, if you want to be a part of this, show up on Monday ready to work. If not, turn them in. Yeah. Turn those jerseys in. We'll go on without you.
Walt said he got a lot tougher on him in practice, too. Maybe this is what it turns out when you get a little tougher on him.
Berkeley, 3 to the 25.
You know, I was talking to him yesterday. He said we had so many good kids coming back for this year that maybe I thought, took some things for granted. Maybe I thought that I knew that they were going to be prepared in certain instances, mentally and physically, as we got ready in 2-a-days, and I should have been tougher on him. You know, he's still a young head coach.
Yep.
As far as his experience is concerned. He learned a lot this year.
Bryant likely to leave, but not too many other players departed. Berkeley's only a freshman. That whole offensive line is coming back. First down at the 33.
Lou Polite. You know, we talked about him running. That was a perfect example of a 6-foot, 240-pound, 45-pound sophomore fullback. Blocking the contain man. Boom. I tell you what, the more I see of Lou Polite, the more I like him for the future. Now, if you keep your eye on it, you'll see why does this play good. Keep your eye right there on number 32, right there. That block there allows the guy to run 5. There's usually one key block on all good plays.
Berkeley. At time, no key block comes for him.
Coach, you're talking about Polite. You mentioned he's a sophomore. You have Kirkley, who's a freshman. You have Furman, who's the other running back, a freshman. All the offensive linemen back. If you're a wide receiver and you're being recruited by Pittsburgh, you're going to take a serious look at this system because of the way they throw the football. You're going to be able to recruit great athletes. They have some great players coming back at that position. The big thing for Walt next year will be the quarterback.
That's right.
And who will be able to pull the trigger and lead this team next year.
NC State injury here, and it's D'Antonio Burnett. So you have Burnett injured. He's the starting middle linebacker. We've already seen LeVar Fisher, the starting linebacker, out for the game with a broken arm. And Brian Jameson missed a few snaps as well with an injury. Fortunately, Burnett is running off under his own power.
If you remember, they talked about the first time we had Chuck Amato that Burnett got hurt in the Clemson game, and Clemson won the football game running the quarterback draw right where Burnett was. He thought he might be the most valuable football player he had, especially on the inside versus the run.
One of the hardest workers on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Got the most valuable lifter 2001. Tells you about his preparation.
2nd and 10 from the 33. Priestley's throw is incomplete for Polite. You know, Lee, you mentioned Chuck Amato and Clemson, a game that NC State lost 45-37 Clemson. It came down to Clemson or North Carolina State for this bowl berth. Chuck Amato came down here on the Friday before the selections happened on the weekend, brought some NC State shirts, memorabilia, try to do a little recruiting of the people who would vote in the bowl game. State does have a better record overall, 7-4 compared to Clemson 6-5. Both teams 500 in the league. They said, we'll bring people, and the sale worked. Not that this team doesn't deserve to be here, but the enthusiasm to arrive was an influence. Priestley forced to get rid of that early because of the pressure of Terrence Martin, who had a sack earlier tonight.
I also think the Tangerine people wanted us to have the teams that were hottest at the end of the year, a la basketball. And these two teams, as you mentioned in the open, I think the Sugar Bowl is the only game that has, these guys have 9 out of 10, right?
You got to cut. Yeah, that's right. There are 2 other bowl games, both BCS games, that have the participants have won 9 of their last 10.
Against the offense, not enough players on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined, 4th down.
And in the Sugar Bowl, you have Illinois and LSU coming in combined. They've won their last 12 games.
And I think that's very, very important when it comes to the bowl selections. And I don't think him coming down here with the T-shirts had anything to do with it.
Andy Lee to punt, pressure on. They've been very good in getting it away. And a flag is down as well at the site of the kick. Tackle made by Torrey Cox covering at the 21. And the marker down where the kick happened. And it's a hold on the Panthers. Jericho Cotchery, who made the catch on the punt, is shaken up as well. Pittsburgh is staying relatively healthy here tonight. NC State's getting beat up in this game.
We have holding against the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, replay 4th down.
So now Brian Peterson goes back to receive the punt. He caught 8 punts this year.
Peterson comes limping onto the field. I mean, you're right. This team is banged up tonight. He's favoring it.
This time they show 8 at the line of scrimmage and back 2 off. Perhaps to set up a little more of a return. A good special teams unit. Peterson, fair catching, back at the 37-yard line. Phillip Rivers completed a whole mess of passes in this hot stretch at the end of the season for NC State. Tonight he's 11 of 17, only 67 yards. Will he get it going? We'll be right back. This season by getting married. His longtime girlfriend in Alabama, Tiffany. They met in Decatur, Alabama, back in 8th grade. They stayed together through high school, even though their high schools were rivals, and ended up getting married on May 19, 2001. What was Chuck Amato telling us yesterday? Everybody comes now. They want to be the guy to hang out with Phillip Rivers on their recruiting trip. But Chuck's got to make sure that Phillip's wife, Tiffany, is there. We need Phillip tonight for a recruiting visit, okay?
You got to hang out with the fellas tonight.
From the 37. Let's get his receivers going here. Down the field somewhere. He's running for space to throw. It's caught. It hit the grab made for the first down by Owen Hannum, the backup quarterback. 22-yard pickup. Here's Jerry.
Well, we're not good again on the NC State sideline. Take a look at the very uncomfortable Jericho Cotchery, the 6'1", 194-pound sophomore. Headed to the locker room that examined his right ankle, and he's very point tender over the distal part of the fibula, the small bone in the lower leg. They're going to take him in for x-rays. Hopefully it's a sprain, but not going to take any chances. Take him in, take a picture. We'll let you know when we get some word from the locker room.
All right, Jerry, that's a tough blow. He's become the go-to guy for this team. Willie Wright dropped it. It was behind him. Pass is incomplete. Cotchery is heading to the locker room. Was a big rival of Philip Rivers in their high school days in Alabama, in Birmingham. As a matter of fact, Cotchery and Rivers went head-to-head in a basketball game. Cotchery guarded Rivers and completely shut him down in that game. Philip said, I had 4 points and fouled out. Now on the football field, Rivers' team got the better of Cotchery's. Those two have become very good friends, and a great pass-catch combination here of late. Complete to Devontae Edwards across the 30 into the 29-yard line, first down.
It's unfortunate, obviously, about Cotchery's injury. You combine he and Peterson, that's the top two wide receivers in this offense. Now you have to rely on some freshmen and sophomores who have ability, but still are going to be players down the road. Tonight they're going to have to grow up and help this offense out.
This whole drive, 5 receivers, no backs. First and 10. Pass is caught by Willie Wright to the 25-yard line. Rivers just went over 100 passing yards. Second and 5. Run for it. And he has the first down. Good call, by the way, on Kozar.
Yes, and even the delivery, kind of a sidearm sling.
That's a good call.
Want to say one thing. This 5 wide receiver look is working for a reason. They're spreading the Pittsburgh defense out now. There's 8 defensive backs and linebackers spread all over the field. And Pittsburgh's been rushing 3. Now they're going to change things up, but they're not getting the same amount of pressure on Philip Rivers. And he's finding the receivers that he needs to get the ball to.
Complete to Devontae Edwards. Slipped and fell at the 10.
If you'll notice also, because the offensive set is spread out, he can see the defensive blitzes better, and he's hitting what they call a hot man. That time, the outside corner area man came, and he hit a receiver right behind him. This is a nice change of pace by Chuck Amato in the step.
Bunch of freshmen, the backup quarterback. There's a cast of characters at receiver here right now. Again, the freshman Edwards. He has the first down at the 6. No tempo up, but they won't get to a play here before we get to the 4th quarter. NC State showing signs, but they've got to do it on this drive. Down 17, and up we go to the 4th.
Thanks to Steve Turnberger. I think it was a highlight.
Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. Philip Rivers has had an outstanding drive. They need to get a touchdown. It's 1st and goal. For the 2nd straight game, they enter the 4th quarter without an offensive score, but get one here on the touchdown to Devontae Edwards.
Edwards was responsible for a number of plays here. Puck goes way off the line in man coverage. And I'm sure Philip Rivers saw that right when he got to snap. He decided to take advantage of that, and Edwards with a quick out right at the goal line made a nice catch for the touchdown.
Adam Kiker on to add the extra point. Block could be returned for 2 if Pittsburgh can get there. The angle is cut off, and he'll be taken down at the 35-yard line. It was picked up by Ramon Walker. A tough snap for Jeremy Mebane to handle, and Joe Conlon got in there and blocked it. It was back in his body.
I think the snap also was very hard. Watch it. It went right past him almost.
May have slowed down the timing.
Yeah, a little high,
but he got it down. Yeah.
but it messed up the timing.
Yeah.
And by messing up the timing, he didn't go through the follow-through.
And now it's an 11-point game, so they'll need a touchdown, 2-point conversion and field goal.
You know what this reminds me of with all these substitutes in there for North Carolina State? The other night I'm watching Coach K, a Duke basketball game against Kentucky. And Kentucky comes out and runs them off the court. He calls timeout, takes all his superstars and sits them down and says, yo, you're not playing Duke basketball. Back in fact, but he puts them back in the ball game, and the young guys come back and win the ball game. If North Carolina State is going to win this football game, they're going to have to win it with the enthusiastic second and third guys who have not been in there as much this year.
Like Devontae Edwards, who caught 4 passes on that drive. A good drive for Phillip Rivers. Kiker to kick off. Torrey Cox, Shante Spencer awaits. Cox from the 7. With a seam. And the kicker pushes him towards the sideline and out of bounds at the 49. A return of 42 for Torrey Cox, junior from Miami.
Pittsburgh gets some momentum back after North Carolina State scores, and Phillip Rivers throws this right to a spot. And Edwards, you can tell that's one of these things that you work on over and over and over, the relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. I'll tell you, Phillip Rivers is unorthodox. He's not going to impress you with style points, but he knows where to put the football, and that time he put it right where it had to be for his receiver to make the catch.
Edwards, the freshman, caught 1 touchdown this year in the first 11 games. Big drive for the NC State defense and the Pittsburgh offense. Kirkley.
Kirkley, the ball carrier.
Flag down as he gets to the State 44.
Penalty flag thrown.
Boy, I tell you what, Thunder Dan Burnett's trying to do everything he can out there to help this defense out, and here he gets tangled up in the Pittsburgh offensive line. It was a very obvious hole. See Pittsburgh's offensive line, nice job of drive blocking, but right there, Matt Morgan just locks on to Burnett, doesn't allow him to get to Kirkley. It's a good call by the official.
So we're going to have 1st and 15 because holding is marked off from the spot of the infraction.
I tell you, for a team that's trying to play with urgency, they're getting pushed off the line of scrimmage.
Priestley to throw on 1st down. Getting out of bounds. Here comes Thunder Dan after you, the second leading tackler on this team. Oh, it's been a terrific week of sports on ESPN. It continues with the Division I AA National Championship game. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten will join you from Chattanooga as the Paladins of Furman, 12-2, take on the Grizzlies of Montana, 14-1. 5:30 Eastern special time on ESPN. Billy Napier did a good job in the national semifinal game. How about Johannes Humphrey? Giving Adrian Peterson a run for it this year in terms of those 100-yard games. This is 2nd and a dozen. Priestley is sacked. Terrence Chapman, 2nd one of the night for him. 3rd for the Wolfpack as a team.
This play, number 52 from Pitt, Dan LeCarte, got good position to block, but then watch him. You'll see the left guard right there. He gets his feet tangled up. He doesn't keep in front of the guy. The reason why he didn't do a good job was because he didn't keep his feet in between them.
The other thing is North Carolina State's been burnt tonight in one-on-one coverage. This time, great coverage downfield to allow Chapman to get the pressure to get to Priestley.
Antonio Bryant. I wanted to say his name because we have it in the 3rd quarter and 4th. No catches. 3rd and long. Looking for Bryant in double coverage. And it's incomplete. Freshman, true freshman, Andre Maddox was there in coverage.
Well, when it's 3rd and 19, you know they're going to try to dial up number 80. This time they went back and had him They had coverage underneath with Williams, and the freshman Maddox comes back and gets a hand on the ball because he had Williams beat again to the post. Good thing they had Maddox back there to help out, and that could have been another touchdown.
Devontae Edwards is back to receive the punt. After Peterson and Cotchery have been banged up. They're showing Andy Lee some different pressure here. Flag's down. Flag down.
The time
And NC State was moving on the line. It may have been caught in the neutral zone.
Could have been one of those where North Carolina State jumped and it made Pitt
Have a
move.
dead ball foul. False start against the offense. Moving in the offensive line. Penalty snap. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
I love when coaches do that to the assistants. Hey, get back, the head coach says, so I can tell the official how bad the call was. See? Well, get back and let me tell him how horrible it was.
Watching the Tennessee-Florida game, Philip Fulmer has an assistant coach assigned to him. To keep him
Part of the strength coach.
That's right.
Strength coach typically.
To keep him from going too far out or too long.
In the NFL, they call him the get-back coach.
Yep.
4th and 24. Spin. Hunt pressure coming. They have protected very well. 26, freshman Edwards, no chance. Torrey Cox has been fabulous tonight on special teams. Devontae Edwards has never caught a punt in his college career. And he was not thinking anything about returning it. He was thinking about holding on and don't give it up. Boy, Phillip Rivers had a good last drive or what?
Terrific. Now, the key point about trying to catch people is the following stat I'm going to give you. When North Carolina State scored, it only took North Carolina State 1 minute and 39 seconds to get the ball back. You have rallies with defense.
That chance here. Able to throw the ball is Edwards, but he takes it on what technically is a run. That side looks for the late hit flag, and they get it. Devontae Edwards hit after he was over in the white at the sideline by Ramon Walker. It's going to move him down the field, 15. What is it about bowl games that you have these dramatic turns in momentum?
After the play was over, we have a dead ball, personal foul against the defense for a late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
We take it at both teams last year.
Yeah.
NC State fell behind 24-0 in the Micron PC Bowl against Minnesota, came back and won. Pittsburgh fell behind 27-7 in the Inside.com Bowl against Iowa State. They lost the game, but they really made it a competitive second half. And we saw last night the 38-8 deficit for Marshall erased against East Carolina. Rivers fires. Incomplete. This intended for Jeremy McBain, and here's Jerry.
Guys, talk about the toll this game has taken on NC State starters. The wounded Wolfpack, LeVar Fisher, the leading tackler in the history of the NC State University, broken arm. He is out. Brian Peterson, leg contusion, is tightened up. He may not be back in the ball game. Brian Jamison, thigh bruise. And X-ray reports on Jericho Cotchery a moment ago. X-rays are negative. Pretty significant ankle sprain. He's done for the night.
Thank you, Jerry. Complete Edwards. Underneath, he's gotten a lot of mileage out of that. So, Kirk, they're doing this 5-receiver thing without Cotchery for the rest of the game, without Peterson.
That's what I was going to say. Last year in the bowl game against Minnesota, the big comeback, they had Corn Robinson. Corn Robinson had a huge second half. Tonight, their two top receivers are now down. Now they're relying on a lot of youth, even a backup quarterback within this 5 wide receiver set. So if they're able to pull this comeback with this group, boy, that says a lot about Phillip Rivers' ability and the coach's ability to make the adjustments.
3rd and a yard. Willie Wright, tight end, went up and got it. That's one reason you can play 5 wides with the injuries, because of the wide receiver skills of the 6'4", 240 tight end.
One thing I'm surprised to see is Pittsburgh, against this 5 wide receiver look, they're playing off the ball. And because of that, Philip Rivers is saying, hey, guys, I'm going to take that all day. He's nickel and dime him, throwing underneath to these receivers and picking up 5, 6 yards at a time. He's trying to bait him to come up, and then he'll go over him.
This is 4 wide, 1 back. Ray Robinson. Will toss out to Devontae Edwards. Hit by Walker at the 40.
That was a perfect example of a quarterback automatically from a shot. The reason why he's in the shotgun at the beginning is to throw the ball, but he must get in the quarterback's position to throw this pass because the timing is better from the quarterback position there than it is back in the shotgun. And that's why he moved up to call that automatic.
2nd and 7, Robinson. Ray Robinson breaks free. To the 10, 1st and goal for the Wolfpack. You knew that was coming at some point, didn't you?
Been showing a lot of the empty set with Philip Rivers back there by himself. You saw this last play where you saw Ray Robinson in where they dumped the ball out real quick to Edwards, and this time with Robinson back in the shotgun. They basically have been setting them up for this call and waited for the exactly the perfect time to go to it to pick up big yardage.
Sean Burton's in at tight end, number 3. Hannum is the quarterback. Rivers motions out to the bottom of the screen. We got people everywhere. Hannum. It's a lot for a gain of a yard. Owen Hannum tackled by Gerald Davis. Hannum, a senior quarterback, transferred from junior college in Utah, Snow Junior College. Played special teams and receiver, as we've mentioned. He's a rodeo guy as well. And I mentioned, you know, Cody Pickett, we're going to see the Washington quarterback. I figured, yeah, no, they rodeo together. No. Hannum has gone to the rodeo and done rodeo with Pickett's dad, right? Rivers back at the quarterback to right. That is complete to the 2-yard line. 3rd and goal coming up.
Come the big boys. 4, 5 big, huge linemen, tight ends, running backs. They're going to go to a different formation here. This is Philip Rivers. This is what people love about Philip Rivers, is how quick he gets rid of the football. And when he gets inside the red zone, he's going to look up Willie Wright as often as possible when they're going to throw the football.
Maybe the pass with the extra tight ends here. They run Robinson and he stops. Well, what do you do here? It's an 11-point game. You need a field goal at some point.
I kick the field goal.
Okay.
And the reason I kick the field goal, I want to keep the momentum on my side. I know if you score, that's wonderful. But if I got at least 3, I got 19, it looks better. That's my opinion. Psychologically, I would go to make scoring something.
It's a 1-possession game. If you score, you'd only be down 8. They call timeout to think about it. 4th down decision coming up. It will be an Adam Kiker kick for 4th and goal from the 2. Well, Philip Rivers on the sideline tells you they're not going for it. They will try the field goal. Adam Kiker, who had his last extra point blocked. This is a 19-yard field goal attempt.
Kicker attempting a 19-yard field goal.
That snap much better. And the timing was good, so was the kick.
Let me give you the main reason I think Chuck Amato made an executive decision, because assistants always want to go for touchdowns. It's the head coach's team. Let me tell you why. It only took them 1 minute and 39 seconds on defense to get the ball the last time. I think if his defense can stuff him down, then he goes for it and goes for all the game. Right now, go get it.
Exclusive presentation of the 2001 Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl is presented by Visit Florida. For hot Florida vacation deals, go to FLAUSA.com. And in part by Chrysler, we're reinventing the passion for driving.
Downtown Orlando, host of 2 bowl games. The Florida Citrus Bowl and the Visit Florida Tangerine Bowl. This one is staying close down the stretch. The lead is 8 at the 9:39 mark, 4th quarter. North Carolina State has seized momentum. Torrey Cox from the 5.